Hello, my name is Abby with Tuxedo Bird Creations. Thank you for joining me today and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to do the aligned puff stitch. Before we begin, if you like my tutorials, please subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified of new patterns and stitch tutorials on my website, feel free to subscribe to my newsletter at tuxedobirdcreations.com, where you can find all of my patterns as well as my stitch library that is growing weekly with a new stitch added every Tuesday on Stitch Tutorial Tuesday. The aligned puff stitch is basically just that. It's rows of puff stitches that are aligned with each other. It creates a nice thick fabric that would be good for so many projects, a nice warm sweater or blanket, hot pads, pot holders, placemats, anything like that. To get started, we are going to be chaining any even number or any multiple of 2. So for this tutorial, I will be chaining a total of 14 stitches. Go ahead and chain as many as you would like, any multiple of 2. Pause the video and meet me once you're done. I have my chain of 14 stitches. To begin row 1, we will be single crocheting from in the second chain from the hook. So the loop on your hook does not count as a chain. So 1, 2, we will be single crocheting into that second chain from the hook. And then chain 1. From here we are going to be skipping the next chain and single crocheting into the one after the skipped, and then chain 1, skipping the next one, and single crocheting and chaining 1 into the next one. We will be doing this for the length of our chain foundation. So skip and single crochet and then chain 1. So go ahead and pause the video, continue this pattern down row 1 until you get to the end, and I'll show you how to move on to row 2. Row 1 is complete. You end with 1 single crochet into that last chain in your foundation row. And you're going ahead and chain 2 and turn your work. This chain 2 counts as a half double crochet. So in this first chain space here, we're going to create our first puff stitch. To create the puff stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and bring up a loop, yarn over, insert our hook and bring up a loop, yarn over, insert our hook and yarn over and bring up a loop, and yarn over and bring up a loop. And that is our puff. So we're doing that 4 times. You should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 loops on your hook here. So you're going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops, and that's your puff, and then chain 1. And that will create your puff stitch. So to move on, you will find the next chain space in between your single crochets and do the same thing. So yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop. That's 1 time. Yarn over, insert and pull up a loop. 2. Yarn over, 3, yarn over, and 4. Pull through all of those loops on your hook and chain 1. You do this for the length of row 2. So one more time, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, bring through all of those loops on your hook and chain 1. Go ahead and do that for the length of your row 2. Meet me at the end. I'll show you how to move on to row 3. Row 2 is almost complete. We have made all of our puff stitches for row 2. We just have to finish the row with 1 half double crochet. So half double crochet is yarning over, inserting into this last stitch here at the end of the row, yarning over and pulling up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, and just bringing that yarn through all of those loops, all 3 loops. And that will end row 2. Starting row 3, chain 1 and turn your work. And in this first chain space here, create 1 single crochet. Chain 1. You're going to skip over this puff stitch, and in the next chain space, you're going to single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next puff, single crochet in between those 2 puff stitches in that chain space, and then chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, and to end the row you will be creating 1 single crochet into that chain 2 that you started row 2 with to end the row. So that is row 3. From here you would basically just repeat row 2 and 3 for the length of your project. So you would chain 2, turn your work, and create your puff stitches in those chain spaces so that they align with the puff stitch row from before. So now that you have your row 3 done, you can kind of see where those chain spaces are and where those V's from the single crochets are in between those puff stitches. So you know that you're going to go into the space above the puff stitch from below, and you're going to create another puff. Bring through all of those loops, chain 1, and then go ahead and skip over this single crochet right here. And in this chain space, create another puff. Bring it through all of those loops, chain 1, and do it one more time for the length of your row. So just go into that chain space in between the 2 single crochet stitches. And then to end row 4, you would be putting 1 half double crochet into that last stitch of the row to end the row, chaining 1, and then you would start row 3 over again, or I should say row 2. So you would single crochet and then chain 1, single crochet, and chain 1. So that's basically it. That's the aligned puff stitch. It creates this wonderful pattern, this wonderful texture, a nice thickness. And I would love to know how you use this stitch or how you plan on using this stitch in the future. Thank you for joining me today for this tutorial. And again, if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to stay updated, sign up for my weekly newsletter at tuxedobirdcreations.com. Happy hooking!